fun little project today. Working on my oil furnace here. And the oil furnace, it's got this thermostat up here, and I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this guy. And I watched a great YouTube video which kind of exactly demonstrated how this thing works. So usually there's a wire here and a wire down here, and then there's a wire over here and up here. And the two wires on this side are for the fans. Alright, I got interrupted there. So, there's it says fan here, you can't really see that, but there's two wires here, and when this thing spins, obviously the coil at the back spins, and it contracts and spins the front dial here. And you get these little knobs here, these little, I don't know if you can see them, but the little temperature settings. And this one is for off. The middle one is for fan on at the low temperature. And the high one is for the high temperature cutoff. So what happens is here is when this spins around to 150, you know, or wherever the fan on marker is, it will pass the power through here, the 115 volts, through these two wires and complete that circuit. And it will turn the fan on. Now, the problem I have is that the furnace would start up, but the fan would not come on. And so it would get all the way around to the 200 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, or whatever that is there, Celsius I guess. And it would basically automatically shut off, because this side controls the very last pin, the high temperature pin. This side actually shuts off the burner. So when this guy connects, it actually, I guess it would disconnect this, since it's a load. It would disconnect the two wires coming into here and shut off power to the burner, basically, and that's what it does. One way or another, whether it closes the circuit or opens the circuit, I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't test it. I got my voltmeter, I suppose I could. Anyways, this is the high load temperature limit. So my issue was on this side where the fan wouldn't go on. But I didn't think it was, well, I thought it was this for a while, and I actually replaced this, only to find out it wasn't this at all. And I'll show you what I found here. So the symptoms of this is that the yellow burner will fire up. I'll see the fire happening in here, and then the air box will get really, really hot, and then this dial will spin around to 200 and automatically shut off the burner because it's overheating, because the fan never kicks in. Now because I have a wood stove there, I have a secondary way to turn on the fan. I can actually manually turn the fan on with with these guys here. If I pull this up, oh sorry, I got the power cut off to everything, so it doesn't work. I was going to demonstrate that for you, but anyways, these are the same thermostats, just manual controls on them. So yeah, my problem was it was getting around to the second pin there, that for the fan on in there, and it was not powering the fan up. So I was looking at all these connections here, and this is a mess. They didn't put solid core wire into the thermostat, so the wire was all fraying and overheating and stuff. So I replaced it with solid core, and then put the what do you call these, Marets on there. I couldn't figure it out, and I almost gave up here. So I took it one more shot, and I took this the panel on the bottom. Now this bottom down here has on-off switches for the fan on this particular furnace. It's got a power button on this side for power to the whole thing, and then it's got the fan on-off on this side. I took the cap off, and what do I see here? This thing here is completely melted down. Now I have turned the power off. It's only 115 volts, so it's not the end of the world. But this is all completely melted together. I don't know if there's any, because what I should see is, get the light up here, I should see 115 volts going through these two when this guy kicks over to fan on. I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing about 9 volts, so it was shorting out. And my brain was telling me that it was shorting out because there was only 9 volts on the line, which didn't make sense. But I couldn't figure out what the problem was. So, but I got this guy off, and this is completely melted down in here. All these wires are, I don't know if you can see that, but they're all totally melted down. I'm going to have to pull all those apart and cut off the good bits and rewire them, because there's a moret that's completely melted down right here. Now I do have the power off here, so it's safe, but I still don't like touching the wires. You can see it's totally melted down. So it's good it's in a metal box, because that could have been a fire. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off, and I'll try and strip them and get the new wires plugged up here. Now to be safe, I'm going to use my voltmeter here and just check for power. Of course, I have it on the AC setting. I'm just doing live to ground, and there's nothing there at all. So that's fine. Wow. What a mess. Now this one, which was melted a bit because it was in contact, I think it's okay. Looks okay. I might just put some, might wrap that in some electrical tape. It doesn't look like it was completely, the insulation wasn't completely wrecked on it, so I'm gonna get some electrical tape and tape that up a little bit. Yeah, that one looks okay, so I'm just gonna wrap this guy up just to be sure it's not shorting with anything else. There we go. So that should be good. That's a magical wire going in nowhere. Now this ugly, yuck. Man, that is fried. Goodness me. So I'm gonna clip this guy completely. Both we got stranded wires. Hook those guys up. Alright, now with that's rat nest out, I could probably go try this thing. Yeah. Now I should have, let's see, what should I have there? Nothing right now, so I'm going to turn the power back on here. Power's back on. Now, alright, so now, flip this guy on. That's the main blower. Light that guy up. this connection shows 14 volts. Not totally sure what it should be showing me. Yeah, got the furnace going now. Just turn it on, and now we're going to watch for this dial to spin around. What I want to see is the voltage between these two goes to 120. 14 volts right now. It should flip and engage the main fan, which is already on. Actually, because I have the wood furnace. But, this will start going soon. Even with the wood furnace going, you should still see 120 volts going through there. What I'm trying to do is manually turn this and see if it will turn on the fan. It does. Beautiful. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. So when it reaches 150 or whatever the preset temperature is there, it should turn on the fan to the oil furnace, and then it's automated. You are good to go. Obviously, when I'll put that light up here. I don't know if you can see that before. Obviously, when it heats up, goes like this, and gets to the point where it turns on the fan. When it cools down, it obviously counterclockwise rotates and turns off the fan at the various little switches, the tabs there. And yeah, my problem was that it was shorted out in the wiring there. So now I should be able to use my furnace, which I haven't been able to do in probably 2 years. Although I've been using the wood furnace. So that is that. So I'll probably test that tonight and see if it keeps working. And then we should be good to go, and we should be able to leave for vacation. So that is a very nice project to complete. Yeah, that's been 2 years since I had that working because it shorted out. I guess I didn't wire it properly. It was stranded wire, and it's supposed to be solid core to handle the amperage that's going through it. I didn't change it, but hopefully the new connections I put in there with the new Moret, that should resolve it. So I wouldn't suggest that you take my advice when it comes to fixing anything electronic, especially furnaces. It's dangerous with 115 volts. But that's what I did to fix mine. So the symptoms, just to kind of summarize it, the symptoms were that it would fire up, the burner would start going, it'd start burning oil, it would heat up in maybe 2 minutes, but the fan would never kick on. So it overheated, and then it went into the overheat mode where it actually got to the 200 degrees Celsius there, and actually emergency shut off the burner. It actually shuts off the burner when it gets that hot. So I had to fix that part in between where it wasn't turning on the blower at the 150 degrees when it should have been, and that's because I had some melted wires in there. So I'll try it tonight and see how it goes, and I'll keep you posted. Here's my video update. This is the morning after I fixed the furnace, and I have great news. It worked perfectly. The issue was totally the melted down wire that was in here that was shorting, and there just wasn't enough power draw through here to spin up the fan, so it would try and come on, and but it never would, and then it would keep heating up, and then it would go around to the emergency shut off. And so that's great. I actually used it this morning to heat the house up from 18 degrees to 21, and it worked perfectly. The fan came on, and I know for sure because the fire was not interfering, because the fire was completely out. There just wasn't even coals left in the fire. So that's great. So if you didn't know, I have the Kerr Contour oil furnace, and then it goes into the Ardent Energy wood burning furnace, forced air system, obviously. So yeah, and then the issue was obviously that the oil furnace wasn't firing up the blower. So that fix worked. That is like most issues. Usually it's an obvious thing. Usually it's not like the big mechanical things like the thermostat. That's what I keep finding. Um, unless the burner's really old, like maybe you have stuff built up around the burner nozzle or something. But I mean, this is only 5 years old. This is brand new for all things considered. And usually, what the issue is something really obvious. And in this case, that turned out to be true. It was just I just had to open up the boxes, and I did find the shorted out, melted down wire in the back there. So just I guess encouragement if you have furnace troubles yourself. Excuse me, yourself. Um, have a look at it. Make a good attempt at trying to understand uh, how it works, how the fan works, what powers the fan, how the thermostat works, and then just take some covers off things and just have a look. Are there any wires loose? Is there anything obviously damaged or melted down about the wires? And that'll give you an indication of where to look further. So I think in a lot of cases, it doesn't matter what you're fixing. Often, more often than not, the problem is pretty simple, and it's a simple part to replace, or wires come disconnected or something. So that would be my encouragement and my suggestion. I'm not a HVAC guy by any means. I'm just a homeowner who doesn't mind a bit of DIY stuff, and I wouldn't necessarily do a whole video on exactly how to do it. I'm just recording this so that you know what to do going forward. But it's as simple as that, and just having a basic understanding of how it works. When it gets to a certain temperature, the fan comes on, and just having that very basic knowledge gives you an idea to start looking at the thermostat and what could be wrong. So that's it. I hope that helps someone out there and gives them some encouragement to go and attempt to figure it out on their own. And in this case, I was successful. That was great. It may come down in the future where the yellow burner has something internally wrong with it, and maybe it's not firing up, which could be electricity issue, or could mean maybe the burn nozzles are getting pretty dirty or something. But anyways, I'll have to see that. If I get to that point where I have something like that, I'll have to see if I can fix it. But there's always a place for professionals for sure. And I wouldn't necessarily getting in there and playing with 120 volts like I was doing with my voltmeter if you don't have some idea of what you're doing and what you're working with there. So be cautious. Have some idea of voltages, DC and AC. That's your basic. You just basic stuff. Make sure you don't short stuff out and cause sparking, and make sure you don't electrocute yourself. Although with 120 volt, there's not a real chance that you're gonna kill yourself necessarily. With 240 volts over the UK, that might be an issue. So just a DIY thing, and try and fix it yourself. You may find that you can't fix it and you have to call a professional in anyways. But certainly me fixing this, I spent maybe an hour and a half, and maybe that's longer than a professional would have taken. But I learned a bunch, and so I'll know how to fix it next time. And I probably saved $100 in a call, a call out fee for them to come and look at it and find exactly what I found, and just do the fix was literally a 5-minute fix. Pop off the cover, put a new Moret on the wires where it melted down, separate them so they're not grounding, and that was the only thing that I did, and that was literally 5 minutes to fix that. So it saves you a lot of money in the long run, and they would have, a professional would have charged an hour fee. All right, so that's it. Just a little bit of fixing furnace DIY stuff, and again, it's not a tutorial. I just hope that helps the next guy.